All right, everybody. So the last video we kind of got cut off, so I wanted to kind of just go back over and just talk about a few things still regarding the serial killer assignment. So once again, here I am. I'm at the Unit 8 Criminal Psychology, just further down on the Canvas page. And I go right here to Serial Killer Report Assignment. You can see it's worth 50 points. And this is the biggest thing you'll be doing besides taking the end of the unit test. Open back up the Serial Killer Report Assignment. And as you can see, let me pull this on over. As you can see, like I said earlier on the other video, that there's two parts, part 1 and part 2. Okay, just understand that part 1, like I said, it's an abstract, short, to the point version. I don't need any extra fluff. If you think, once again, we've talked about Richard Ramirez. If Richard Ramirez, you'd be telling me, like, for example, okay, I'm looking at this. A little more bold so you can see it better, but he's male, 50 years old, Hispanic. Looking here, occupational skills. Let's just say that he was a road crew worker. I mean, it is just short and sweet and to the point. All right. It's not to get to part 2, and I want it to be a maximum of 3 pages. So I know some people could dive into this and give me 6, 7, 8 pages, but no, just keep it to 3 pages, okay? So it needs to be a minimum of 2 up to 3 pages, all right? Now, part 1 really should only take 1 page. So let me pull over, bring over, here's this example again. So if we look up at the top, here's part 1. And when it comes to part 1, like I said, it really shouldn't be more than 1 page. It is short, sweet, to the point. It's labeled part 1, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. Then you get to part 2, and like I said, it's where you tell me more of the storyline. Everything from his childhood to what was it like when he was an adolescent, when he was in high school, a young adult, all the way up until, where he was when he started his serial killer motive. So that's kind of more of the storyline. Okay? And once again, you have somebody like Albert Fish or Ted Bundy, and it could be a 20-page report. So kind of pick the most intense events so you feel really shaped who he became or why he did what he did. So you can see this person had 2 and just almost half pages for part 2. Okay? So I do want this to be typed up, Word document, Google Doc, whatever. Okay. And once again, I back this up. Don't need to save it. Okay, and that's a serial killer report assignment, and it's due April 26th. And just slowly piece on it, like we've done the last 2 days. All right, so your serial killer report notes. Now, I love this document. I usually hand this out to everybody on the first day. I will have this at the high school, so if you want to come pick one up, you'll see it down there on the desk outside the office. Grab it. This gives you an idea of the things you should be looking for as far as your serial killer goes. So you scroll through here, childhood information. I mean, here's all these items. Were there problems at school? Was he teased? Did he have any head injuries? Was he sexually abused? What was his father's occupation? Did his parents abuse drugs or alcohol? So looking up this information, and in these boxes, once again, you're using this for your own guide to study and research, and you can just put yes, no, whatever, short and sweet. Relationships, this triad, this is big. Most of your serial killers have bedwetting problems. You said animal mutilations. You just look at this and it just escalates. They fantasize of inflicting harm on somebody else, and so usually they experiment first with animals, and then it escalates till they finally get to a human being. And you just got to keep in mind that their fantasies in their head, they start off as fantasies, and then they get to the point where they just want to reach that fantasy. And like all fantasies, they never stay the same. They always escalate. They evolve. And so that's where you see a serial killer might start off with strangulation, and then he might get a little braver and he might rape and then strangle his victims. And then he gets a little braver and more confident or more skilled, and then he decides to stab, rape, and then strangle his victims. So I can guarantee you that every serial killer has escalated and evolved, and your job is to figure out what's changed or got more skilled and what's going on. Work history, cognitive, there's psychological information, serial killing, what did they do, the age of their first victim, their method they killed and weapon that was used. So I love this document, and keep in mind that you don't have to fill everything out. The more you can fill out, the more I think you're going to understand who they are and why they did what they did and what their profile was. If you've seen Criminal Minds, their job is to create a profile so they can predict what they're going to do in the future so they can be there to catch them. So if you look at it that way, you got to get as much information as you can about him. So if he is out free and you're on the manhunt, could you predict what he would do next? All right, so I know it looks pretty lengthy, but once again, you don't have to fill everything out. You just fill out as much as you can about your serial killer, and then it's going to help guide you into type of different research ideas. All right, so back out of that. So that's the serial killer report notes. Once again, that is not something you have to turn into me. It is 100% there for you as a guide to help you with your research. All right, and then there's the assignment. Okay, let's just back out of this for a minute. So there's a serial killer report assignment. Now, I'm going to pull up this Unit 8 notes packet. Once again, this will be available at the high school, but I've decided the entire notes packet is filled in. You will not be turning this into me. This seems to be the number one item that you guys are struggling with to turn into me, so bag it. We don't need to fill in notes. It's all there. So you can see it's there. Your job then becomes using the notes as a guide as you go through the PowerPoint. All right. So that's that. And like I said, this notes packet, it will be at the high school outside on a desk outside the office. You can pick one up there or print it off yourself. Okay. All right, so that's your Unit 8 notes packet. You will, once again, you will not be turning that into me. It's not worth points. Just use it to help guide as you go through the PowerPoint. So I'm going to download this PowerPoint. Open this puppy up. Oh, it's still downloading because it is a big file. All right. Here we go. Now, the beginning of the PowerPoint, a lot of it is on the anatomy of the brain and how things are connected and related. So this is the part that the more you understand the different parts of your brain and what they are responsible for, it could help lead you to understand why your serial killer goes off on a rage, or why they can't control their strong emotions, sexual desires, like we said, anger. So not every serial killer falls in that category, but still enough that it is a part of the criminal psychology that everyone needs to understand. All right, so the very beginning talks about one of the famous serial killers, Jack the Ripper, and like I said, he's one you could use, but he is an older one. He was never caught, and what he did to his victims was just insane. The mutilations. He definitely had a vengeance against women, and as you read more about him, you'll understand that. And so there's your Jack the Ripper. It just kind of talks about what we're going to be learning about and studying, the different vocab we'll be going through. And then you get into the anatomy of the brain. All right. So if we go back, let's minimize this real quick. If we go back to that schedule, daily schedule for tomorrow, I want you to look at slides 1 through 13. Okay. And use your notes packet to kind of go hand in hand with those slides. And then I need you to be to slide 20 by the 16th. That's what, in 2 days? And then you'll take your first Unit 8 quiz. All right, quizzes are, you're not using your notes. It's your way to review and study, and you can take the quizzes as many times as you want. So it's just a way to see where you're at as far as understanding the material. Okay? All right, so that's kind of what I'd like you to do. So if we're going to go to 13, so that means you need to study and look up to here. We get to 13. I am asking that you understand what the 4 different lobes of your brain are and what they're responsible for doing. Okay, and I'm going to go through and teach this here in a minute on the next video. So look there on this Unit 8 daily schedule. I will be updating this, and just look for what you need to do for that day. I'll put it under the announcements like I've done before. But really work hard. Stay on task with the assignments and the quizzes. I am still working on finishing up the quizzes for this unit, and so I'm hoping to get everything done in the next couple of days. So if you look and be like, oh, I'm ready, I want to go ahead and do more quizzes and unit assignments, I will just get them posted as fast as I can. So you'll definitely have your first quiz up by the 16th. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, make sure you email me, call me, but hopefully this gets you started and feel comfortable diving into Unit 8. But this is a really fascinating, sick unit. So, all right, you guys, we will chat with you soon.